Sustainability is a word that many people hear and associate with concepts like environmental care, resource management, and making better choices for the future. But what does it really mean to achieve sustainable outcomes in our lives, our communities, and our world? It's not just about planting trees or recycling plastic. It's about understanding that every choice we make has a ripple effect. It's about building something that lasts, something that doesn't just serve us today, but sustains us for the long haul. It's about keeping our eyes on the future while remaining grounded in the present. In the pursuit of sustainable outcomes, many find themselves stuck in a mindset that says, I can't do enough. I'm just one person, and what difference can I make? But let me tell you today, sustainable outcomes don't just happen because of grand acts of heroism or single moments of brilliance. They happen because of the small, consistent actions taken day after day by everyday people in everyday situations. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about realizing that sustainable outcomes are built one choice at a time. When we talk about sustainable outcomes, we are talking about a vision that stretches beyond the moment, a vision that sees what can be rather than what is. We are talking about a future where communities thrive, where resources are used wisely, and where people live in harmony with each other and with the earth. But that vision doesn't just appear overnight. It takes effort. It takes dedication. It takes people who are committed to seeing the bigger picture, even when the path is uncertain and the journey long. Every person has the power to be part of this movement, whether they are an individual or part of a larger group, organization, or community. The world we live in today didn't get this way overnight, and it won't change overnight. It's going to take time, it's going to take patience, and it's going to take a willingness to do what others may not be willing to do. But in this struggle, we find our strength, we find purpose, we find out what we're truly capable of. Sometimes we look around and we see things falling apart. We see problems getting bigger and the issues we face seem insurmountable. We ask ourselves, is it worth it? Should I keep trying? But the truth is, the fight for sustainable outcomes isn't a fight against an enemy. It's a fight for something greater than ourselves. It's a fight for the future of our children, our grandchildren, and the generations that come after them. It's a fight for the planet, for the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the land we walk on. It's a fight for a life of peace, prosperity, and purpose. And though the battle may seem daunting at times, it's important to remember that we are not alone in this journey. Every person who takes even the smallest step towards a more sustainable future is part of a larger movement. Every tree planted, every piece of waste recycled, every energy-saving choice made, it all adds up. And when we come together, when we join our hands and hearts in the effort, that's when we start to see the real change. But it's not just about making individual changes. Sustainable outcomes require collective action. They require us to think beyond our own needs and desires and to consider how our actions affect others. It requires us to look at the systems we've built, the policies we've created, and the ways we live and ask ourselves, how can we improve this? How can we make sure that what we are building today will stand the test of time and serve the greater good for generations to come? It's easy to focus on what's wrong. It's easy to point out the flaws, the mistakes, and the shortcomings. But what we need is a mindset that says, I can do something about this. We need a mindset that says, I can change the course of my life, my community, and my world by making better choices today. It's about taking ownership of the role we play and shaping the future and not waiting for someone else to take the lead. It's about stepping up and saying, I will do my part. Building sustainable outcomes also means facing the hard truth that not everything will be perfect. The road will be long and there will be setbacks along the way. There will be moments when it feels like progress is slow and we might even question whether we are making a difference. But we have to remember that sustainable outcomes aren't about perfection, they are about progress. Every small step forward, every improvement, no matter how minor it may seem, brings us closer to the world we want to create. It's also essential to understand that sustainability is not just about environmental concerns. It's about building resilient communities, thriving economies, and systems of education and healthcare that uplift every person, regardless of their background. True sustainability recognizes the interconnectedness of all things, the environment, the economy, and society. You can't have one without the other. And in the same way, you can't achieve lasting change if you only focus on one aspect of sustainability. We need to recognize that sustainable outcomes require a mindset shift. It's not just about what we do, but how we think. It's about embracing the long-term view rather than seeking short-term gratification. It's about building habits, systems, and structures that prioritize the well-being of everyone rather than just a few. It's about investing in the future, even when the returns may not be immediately visible. So how do we make these sustainable outcomes a reality? It begins with each of us. It begins with the choices we make every single day. It's about understanding that our actions matter, even if they seem small. Whether it's reducing our carbon footprint, supporting local businesses, or teaching our children the value of sustainability, we are laying the foundation for the future. Each decision we make today has the potential to shape the future in ways we may never fully understand. But it's not just about individual action, it's about collective action. When we come together as communities, as nations, as people, we can create a movement for change that is unstoppable. We have the power to influence policies, to push for changes in the way industries operate, and to inspire the next generation of leaders to think about sustainability in every decision they make. The journey towards sustainable outcomes is not an easy one, and it's not something that can be accomplished overnight. But it is a journey worth taking. It's a journey that requires commitment, dedication, and most of all, hope. Hope that the future can be better than the present. Hope that the changes we make today will bear fruit tomorrow, and hope that we are doing our part to create a world that is not only sustainable, but thriving. The path may be long, and at times it may feel like we're making little progress. But every small step forward, every change, every effort, no matter how insignificant it may seem, brings us closer to the world we dream of. The key is to keep moving forward, keep believing in the possibility of a better future, and above all, keep acting in ways that honor the earth, the people around you, and the generations yet to come. Because in the end, sustainable outcomes aren't just about what we leave behind. They're about the legacy we create for those who will carry the torch long after we're gone. Achieving sustainable outcomes is not about grand gestures, but about the small, consistent actions we take every day. Every choice we make, whether it's recycling, conserving resources, or supporting ethical practices, contributes to a larger movement that shapes the future. True sustainability requires collective action. It's not just about individual efforts, but about coming together as communities, nations, and industries to create systems and policies that prioritize the well-being of the planet and its people for generations to come. Building sustainable outcomes requires a shift in mindset. It's about embracing long-term thinking, prioritizing the future, and understanding that every action, no matter how small, plays a part in creating a world that can thrive beyond our lifetimes. Sustainability is a journey, not a destination. It is the steady, intentional progress we make every day toward creating a world that is capable of meeting the needs of today without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own. It's easy to think of sustainability as something grand, something requiring massive shifts or heroic feats. But the truth is, sustainability is built through consistent actions. Every small choice we make, whether we realize it or not, has a ripple effect that contributes to the larger picture. Each action, however minor it may seem in the moment, is a piece of the puzzle that ultimately forms a sustainable future. At the heart of sustainability is the understanding that the world is interconnected. Our actions are not isolated. They interact with, influence, and impact others in ways that we may not always see when we make decisions, whether they involve the resources we use, the waste we produce, or how we treat the environment and people. We are contributing to the web of cause and effect that stretches far beyond us. These decisions don't just vanish, they have consequences. Every choice matters, no matter how small it may seem. Take, for instance, something as simple as the food we eat. The choices we make regarding our diet don't just affect our health, they impact the environment, the economy, and even society. When we choose to buy locally grown produce, we're not just supporting local farmers. We're reducing the carbon footprint associated with transporting food across long distances. We are contributing to the vitality of our communities, ensuring that small-scale agriculture remains viable. On the other hand, when we make unsustainable choices, such as consuming products that are heavily processed or sourced from exploitative industries, we are perpetuating systems that harm both the environment and the people involved in the production process. By choosing sustainable, local, or organic options, we contribute to a system that fosters health, equity, and environmental care. Similarly, small actions around waste can accumulate into powerful change. Recycling is a perfect example of how individual actions build toward larger sustainable outcomes. One person recycling a plastic bottle may seem like a drop in the ocean, but when millions of people make similar choices, that drop becomes a wave. That wave in turn becomes a force that reduces waste, conserves natural resources, and reduces the need for new raw materials. The impact of recycling doesn't just stop at the act itself. It extends far beyond to the environmental benefits and the message it sends about our commitment to sustainable practices. Even when it comes to energy consumption, the idea of consistent actions plays a crucial role. Turning off the lights when we leave a room, unplugging devices when they are not in use, or choosing to walk or bike instead of driving are all actions that add up over time. Alone, these actions might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but collectively they help reduce energy consumption, cut down on greenhouse gas emissions, and lessen our dependency on fossil fuels. These daily choices are the building blocks of a more sustainable lifestyle. They aren't just about what we do on an individual level, they are also about the example we set for others. When one person makes a conscious effort to use energy efficiently, others take notice. This can lead to a culture of sustainability where more and more people begin to adopt these small habits and incorporate them into their lives. The consistent nature of sustainable actions also carries a deeper message. It's a message that we do not have to wait for a grand moment or a perfect opportunity to make change. Change does not require dramatic, sweeping actions. It requires steadfast dedication and ongoing commitment to do what we can, when we can. This means that sustainability doesn't have to be intimidating or overwhelming. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every time we take a step, no matter how small, we are moving closer to the world we want to create. The journey may be slow, but each action we take is a step toward a more sustainable future. Moreover, sustainable outcomes rely heavily on a mindset of awareness and responsibility. It's about being mindful of the choices we make, being present in our decision-making, and considering the long-term consequences of those choices. When we are conscious of how our actions affect the environment and society, we start to make decisions that align with our values and the world we want to live in. This is not a passive approach. It's about actively engaging with the world around us, questioning the status quo, and making decisions based on what is right rather than what is easiest. One of the most powerful ways to reinforce this consistent action is by making sustainability a habit. When sustainable practices become second nature, we no longer have to think twice about the decisions we make. Whether it's sorting our waste, conserving water, or opting for more eco-friendly transportation options, these actions become an integral part of our daily lives. By committing to sustainability as a way of life, we ensure that the choices we make will have lasting impacts. The cumulative power of these actions can drive systemic change as entire communities adopt sustainable practices. The more we normalize sustainability in our daily routines, the more we help build a future where these practices are the standard rather than the exception. In the workplace or in the marketplace, the same principles apply. Companies and organizations that embrace sustainability make it a core part of their operations. This doesn't mean they need to overhaul everything at once. It means they can start small by reducing waste, sourcing materials responsibly, and ensuring that their operations are energy efficient. These actions over time not only reduce their environmental footprint, but can also influence other organizations to adopt similar practices. By being consistent in their efforts, businesses can make sustainability a key part of their identity, showing their customers, employees, and the world that they are committed to creating positive, lasting change. At a larger societal level, government policies and regulations can help support and amplify the impact of consistent actions. When communities come together to advocate for sustainable policies, whether it's supporting renewable energy, reducing plastic waste, or pushing for sustainable transportation options, they are reinforcing the idea that sustainability must be a priority. These policies, when enacted, become the framework in which individuals, businesses, and organizations can operate. They provide the necessary infrastructure to allow sustainable choices to flourish. But these larger changes also start with the actions of individuals. As more people demand change, policymakers respond. Thus, the steady, consistent actions of individuals in their communities help propel larger, more systemic shifts that create sustainable outcomes. Sustainability is built step by step, action by action. It's about the everyday choices we make, the habits we develop, and the responsibility we embrace for creating a world that is capable of sustaining future generations. While it's easy to think that one small action doesn't make a difference, the truth is every action counts. Every moment of intentionality, every time we choose to be mindful of the impact of our actions, we are building a future that can endure. It's not the grand gestures or the major milestones that make the difference. It's the consistent commitment to doing what we can where we are with what we have. And when we do this, the cumulative effect of these small actions creates lasting, transformative change. Change is a force that requires more than just individual action. It demands collective effort. While individual actions are important and can set the tone for personal responsibility, it's only when we come together as a community, as a society, and as a global network that we truly begin to see real, lasting change. The idea that collective effort drives real change is not just an abstract concept. It is a principle that has been proven time and time again throughout history. It is through collective effort that the largest, most transformative movements take shape. Movements that shape societies, break down barriers, and create positive, enduring change for the generations to come. When we think about the environmental issues we face today, climate change, pollution, loss of biodiversity, we can often feel overwhelmed by the scale of the problem. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our individual actions, such as recycling or using less plastic, are too small to make any real difference. However, this mindset misses the most powerful truth. The collective action of many individuals working together toward a common goal has the ability to generate immense change. Small actions, when multiplied by millions of people, become something far greater than the sum of their parts. Consider the case of global movements such as the push for renewable energy. While one person switching to solar power may seem like a small drop in the ocean, when thousands, millions, and eventually entire nations make the decision to transition to clean energy, the impact becomes enormous. Governments and industries are then forced to respond to the demands of the people, implementing policies that encourage sustainability, create jobs, and reduce dependence on fossil fuels. In the face of collective demand, corporations are pressured to adopt environmentally friendly practices. This is where the power of collective action comes to life. It forces larger systems to change in ways that individual efforts alone never could. Furthermore, collective action allows for shared knowledge, innovation, and resources that enable us to tackle problems far beyond what any one person or organization could achieve alone. When people unite behind a cause, they bring with them unique perspectives, skills, and experiences. This diversity of thought is crucial for innovation, as it fosters creativity and solutions that may not have been possible through isolated efforts. For example, in the context of sustainable farming practices, farmers from different regions and backgrounds can come together to share their knowledge of techniques that conserve water, increase soil health, and reduce carbon footprints. Through collective collaboration, they can adopt best practices that improve not only their individual operations, but the agricultural sector as a whole. Innovation thrives in an environment where collective knowledge and collaboration flourish and solutions become more scalable and accessible. The collective effort also brings with it the ability to influence policy on a much larger scale. Many of the policies and laws that govern our world are shaped by the collective will of the people. Social movements, grassroots campaigns, and the power of voting can all help steer governments toward enacting meaningful legislation. For example, the civil rights movement in the United States did not rely on the efforts of a single individual, but on the coordinated actions of many who stood together to demand equality and justice. It was their collective voice that forced the government to respond and pass landmark legislation such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These laws fundamentally changed the structure of American society, proving that collective effort can alter the course of history. This idea applies not only to large-scale societal movements, but to local community efforts as well. In towns and neighborhoods around the world, communities are coming together to solve problems in ways that are more effective and sustainable than when they work in isolation. Whether it's creating local food cooperatives, advocating for better public transportation, or organizing neighborhood cleanup initiatives, collective action within a community strengthens bonds, increases social capital, and provides individuals with the opportunity to make a meaningful impact. A single person may not have the resources or influence to change the direction of a city's development, but when a group of people comes together, they can present a united front to local leaders, demonstrating the need for change and demanding action. This unity fosters a sense of empowerment and reinforces the idea that every individual has a role to play in shaping the future. When we look beyond environmental or social issues, the importance of collective effort becomes even more apparent in times of crisis. Natural disasters, public health emergencies, and economic hardships often require people to band together to overcome the challenges they face. The global response to the COVID-19 pandemic is a perfect example of this. While governments and healthcare systems took the lead in response to the pandemic, it was the collective effort of individuals, communities, and organizations that helped to slow the spread of the virus, care for the sick, and support those affected. People followed public health guidelines, health workers worked tirelessly to treat patients, and community organizations provided essential resources. In this case, the collective effort of people across the globe enabled us to weather an unprecedented challenge together. This is the power of unity in action, the ability to rally around a common cause, share resources, and overcome obstacles that will be insurmountable on our own. Real change is about more than just raising awareness. It's about building momentum and creating systems that allow for continued progress. Collective action ensures that change is sustained over time. When we work together, we ensure that our actions are not fleeting or momentary, but part of a broader movement that continues to evolve and expand. This is why it's important to not just support a cause, but to stay committed to the journey. Sustainable change doesn't happen overnight. It requires dedication, persistence, and a willingness to continue fighting for what's right, even when it feels like progress is slow. One of the most inspiring aspects of collective action is its ability to transcend differences. People from all walks of life, with different backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences could come together for a shared purpose. It's a reminder that despite our differences, we all have a common stake in the future of our world. The fight for equality, justice, and environmental preservation affects us all, regardless of where we come from or what we believe. When we come together with a common goal, we create an environment where collaboration, compromise, and understanding become possible. It's this unity that drives us forward, helping us to break down the walls that divide us and build a future that benefits everyone. Real change begins when we acknowledge that we are stronger together. It begins when we set aside our differences and work toward a common goal, when we support one another in the face of adversity, and when we recognize that we all have a role to play in shaping the world we want to live in. Collective effort is what transforms ideas into action and action into lasting impact. Whether in local communities, national movements, or global challenges, it is the unity of many voices, many hands, and many hearts that makes the impossible possible. It is the power of collective action that drives us toward a more just, equitable, and sustainable future. Sustainability, at its core, is not a fleeting trend or a single event that we participate in to check a box. It is not a temporary phase, nor is it simply something we do to fulfill an immediate need. Sustainability is a mindset. It is the way we think about our relationship with the world around us and how we navigate the future with responsibility, foresight, and an unwavering commitment to the long-term well-being of the planet and all its inhabitants. The real power of sustainability lies in its ability to transform how we live, how we interact with each other, and how we interact with the environment. It's about adopting a way of thinking that permeates every aspect of our lives, not just when it's convenient or in response to a specific crisis. It's about cultivating a shift in consciousness that directs us toward making decisions with a long-term perspective, recognizing the interconnectedness of everything. The idea that sustainability is a mindset means that it must be woven into the fabric of our daily choices, from the way we consume resources to the way we interact with our communities and our natural world. It's not a checkbox we tick at the end of the day, and it's not something we can switch on and off depending on the circumstances. Instead, sustainability is an ongoing, conscious practice. It is the ability to recognize the impact of our actions in the present and anticipate their consequences in the future. It's about making intentional decisions based on the understanding that our choices today will shape the world tomorrow. Think about the difference between a moment of sustainability. A moment of sustainability could be as simple as deciding to recycle a bottle or use a reusable shopping bag. Actions that, while meaningful, are often done in response to an immediate situation. These are important first steps. But the true essence of sustainability goes beyond these isolated actions. A mindset of sustainability requires that we think about the broader implications of everything we do. It's about changing how we think about consumption, waste, and production in the first place. For example, a mindset of sustainability might lead us to rethink our buying habits entirely, opting for products that are ethically sourced, durable, and recyclable, rather than constantly consuming and discarding. It's the shift from being reactive to being proactive, recognizing that the cumulative effect of our choices shapes the world in which we live. A mindset of sustainability also embraces the idea of balance and interconnectedness. It's about acknowledging that our environment, our economy, and our society are deeply intertwined. The choices we make in one area can have ripple effects throughout these systems. For example, the food we eat doesn't just impact our health, it has far-reaching consequences for the environment, workers in the supply chain, and local economy. By adopting a sustainable mindset, we begin to see that our actions are part of a larger network. A sustainable mindset leads us to ask questions like, where does this product come from? How was it made? Who made it, and what happens to it once I no longer need it? It's the ability to recognize that sustainability is not just a set of isolated actions, it is a holistic approach to living that impacts every aspect of our lives. This way of thinking also acknowledges that true sustainability requires systemic change. While individual actions are critical, it is not enough to rely solely on the choices of individuals to achieve large-scale change. We must consider how we can influence the systems, policies, and structures that shape our world. For example, a company that embraces sustainability does so not just because a few employees are passionate about the environment, but because the entire organization has adopted sustainability as part of its core values and practices. The mindset extends beyond personal responsibility to institutional responsibility. It's about seeing the potential for change at all levels of society and understanding that large-scale transformation requires the cooperation of many. Sustainability as a mindset also includes recognizing the importance of education and awareness. Knowledge is power, and the more we understand about the issues facing our planet and the systems that contribute to them, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions. By educating ourselves and others about sustainability, we foster a culture of awareness that values long-term impact over short-term convenience. This mindset leads to a deeper understanding of the consequences of our actions, as well as the opportunities we have to make a positive difference. Sustainability is not just about living a greener lifestyle. It's about cultivating a way of thinking that challenges the status quo and inspires change at every level. An important aspect of this mindset is the understanding that sustainability is not just about the environment, it's about social and economic well-being as well. The goal of sustainability is to create a world where everyone has access to the resources they need to thrive. This means advocating for policies that promote fair wages, equal access to education, and the protection of workers' rights. It's about striving for a world where people aren't just surviving, but thriving, where economic growth doesn't come at the expense of people or the planet. Sustainability as a mindset encompasses the recognition that true prosperity means achieving balance and equity for all. It's about lifting up communities, protecting vulnerable populations, and ensuring that the systems we create are just and fair. Moreover, sustainability as a mindset is inherently future-focused. It's about considering how today's actions will affect future generations. In a world that often prioritizes short-term gains over long-term stability, having a mindset of sustainability means thinking beyond immediate gratification. It's about being willing to make sacrifices today for the sake of a better tomorrow. It's the understanding that the choices we make today, however small, contribute to the world our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren will inherit. By adopting this mindset, we begin to value the future as much as the present and make decisions that ensure the world we leave behind is one that is capable of sustaining future generations. This mindset also requires resilience in the face of challenges. Sustainable change doesn't come easily, and there will be setbacks along the way. There will be moments when it feels like progress is slow or that the task is insurmountable. But a mindset of sustainability recognizes that challenges are part of the journey and that persistence is key. It's about maintaining hope and motivation even when the road is difficult. With this mindset, every challenge becomes an opportunity to learn, grow, and adapt. Rather than feeling discouraged by setbacks, we view them as a necessary part of the process of creating meaningful change. Sustainability is not a moment we experience, but rather a lens through which we view the world. It is a guiding principle that shapes how we live, how we work, and how we interact with others in the world around us. It's about making conscious choices, being mindful of the impact of our actions, and taking responsibility for the future we are creating. As we embrace sustainability as a mindset, we not only improve our own lives, but also contribute to a larger movement of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves. It is this mindset that will carry us through the challenges ahead and ultimately create a world that is resilient, equitable, and sustainable for generations to come.